radio check.
Spotter, radio check.
Welcome everyone to round 7 of the Pony Express Endurance for Amateurs series, live from Red Bull Ring this evening. I am your one and only host again this evening, JR Kopp. So bear with me as we continue through these struggles of learning how to run all this equipment exactly correctly. Hopefully you will enjoy the broadcast and you'll stay for the racing. So we are just getting underway with qualifying tonight, as these guys get ready to jump out on the track for their 10-minute 2-lap qualifying session. So again, we are round 7, and we are in the middle of an epic points battle this season. GTE has the top 5 drivers all within 8 points. Your leader, David Lehman, has a 1-point lead over Tyler Langenberg, who has a 1-point lead over Terry Crowger Jr., who has a 1-point lead over Patrick Ripley, who has a 5-point lead over Paul Skip. So these guys are close in their battle this evening. And over in GTE, we have Nicholas Paletti with a 4-point lead over Aaron Claybaugh. And then we have in 3rd place, Sean Crowley. 4th place is Roger Shank. And 5th place is newcomer Jimmy Covert. That is your top 5. As we get away, let's see if we can see who's out on track here. We got some people setting some times. All right, and here we have Mr. Patrick Ripley in that beautiful Ford GT again. As he comes around to the start-finish line, let's see what kind of time Patrick Ripley can post for us here this evening. Oh, that must have been his out lap. So we have quite a few drivers on track. See what kind of times Patrick Ripley can do as he comes down into turn 1, which is, it's a really tight left-hander, but you carry a lot more speed than you think you would due to it being uphill. You got a little bit of a runoff there as he heads his way down into really one of the trickier corners on this track. This tight turn 2 tends to catch a lot of people off really fast, especially early in the race when tires are cold. You really got to be hard on the brakes, and it, as you can see there, Patrick just gets in a little bit hot. So we have Terry Croker Jr. jumps to the top of the chart with a 126.9. And you can see Carl Handwerk and his teammate Jimmy Covert are up front in GTE. And as you can tell, not a lot of time gap between the GTE and the GT3 cars tonight, only about 3 seconds. That is going to make for some interesting inter-class battles, as you're not going to have that big separation in speed, which means these guys are going to spend a lot of time around each other this evening. As we ride along here, see if we can jump inside with Mr. Carl Handwerk as he comes into that tricky, tight downhill left-hander, where it's very easy to just get it wrong. As you can see, it just keeps getting tighter and tighter. Then we can stretch out our legs a little bit here. This comes into this pretty fast-flowing, I don't necessarily want to say double apex because it's really 2 individual turns, but really the first one sets up the second one. As we get into this quick left-right section here, uses all the track, trying to make sure he avoids getting that 1X runoff. So we come down into the penultimate turn. Really got to carry a lot of speed here. You can see Carl in 4th gear, then a quick downshift to 3rd gear and hit that rumble strip and back on the gas for another lap at the Red Bull Ring. So not a lot of lap times. You know, your 129s. See if Carl can improve on that. It does just a little bit, 125.8. As these guys start finishing up some lap times here. See who else we got on track. It does that. Likes to default to the scenic. Oh, it's because these guys are all off track already. So we'll start to get some lap times in here. Looks like we got a smaller field this evening. Got a lot of guys that haven't taken time on the track yet. Looks like Ronnie Osmer is out on track. Let's see if we can find Ronnie. There he goes. See what kind of times Ronnie. So Ronnie's a little bit farther back today, a 28.9. So he's about 2 seconds off the pace tonight. My guess is Ronnie's probably gearing up for the NASCAR season. Not a lot of time to dedicate to the Endurance for Amateur Series. He is a NASCAR employee by day and sim racer by night. These guys are all coming off track here. Let's see if we can... Fortunately, it's not going to show me qualifying times as David Lehman posts a time. So far, we have Tyler Langenberg out on track, and again, it defaults to scenic. So let's see what kind of times Tyler can post for us here as he comes into that double left-hander. Nice tight line there, running it wide on the apex, using as much of the track as iRacing will allow. Ooh, runs just a little bit wide there. Doesn't look like he hit that 1X. Nice Valvoline paint scheme tonight for Mr. Hammonds. Running it as wide as he can there. Coming across the start-finish line, and he improves by a second and a half, but not quite fast enough to overtake the pole. He's going to run out some time and use all of his lap times. And here we see Mr. Richard Hurst in his, looks like DuPont-inspired Rainbow Warrior Porsche. Looks like Richard's having some issues tonight. Did not set a time just yet, but still have minute and a half, 2.5 minutes left actually to go before the end of qualifying. Let's see if we can find Tyler in his Porsche. Tyler is, he's about a second off right now from Terry Kroger. Looks like Alexander Hammonds is setting some personal bests. Unfortunately, it's not going to be quite fast enough to overtake pole position tonight. But again, we have 110 minutes of racing, so plenty of time for these guys to make up positions. As of right now, it looks like we're only going to have 9 in the GTE. And 21 in GT3 tonight. So a little bit smaller field than normal. But nonetheless, should be some great racing here at Red Bull Ring. Sorry for that. Not too bad. Track temperature is only 72 degrees, so nice and cool. Should make for some exciting racing. Tires shouldn't wear too bad this evening. In fact, we are in the morning session, so things are going to start to warm up just a little bit as the race goes on, but they shouldn't be too bad. I don't think tires will be quite as big of an issue as they were last week. All right. Looks like these guys are all set. Everybody's run some good times. So we have Terry Kroger Jr. Looks like he's going to be sitting on the pole here tonight, followed by Brad McCombs. Nice to see Brad up there. Daniel Higley, Ryan Tyler, David Lehman, Tyler Langenberg, Paul Boyle, David Augerbright, and Ronnie Osmer. All right, let's see if we can get some qualifying here in GTE. Like I said, we have Terry Kroger Jr., followed by Brad McCombs, Daniel Higley, Ryan Tyler, David Lehman, Tyler Langenberg, Paul Boyle, Doug Augerbright, Ronnie Osmer, Patrick Ripley, Atticus Middleton, and Gary Beal did not set a time in qualifying this evening. And over in GT3, we have Carl Handwerk, Nicholas Pleddy, Andrew Murray, Jimmy Covert, Chris Lawson, Andrew Malinowski, Tom Corner, Sean Crowley, Aaron Clayball, and Alexander Hammonds round out your top 10. Alex Cornfield, Sarah Tessum, Tony Watson, James Foreman, Zach Purcell, Dan Coleman, Roger Shank starting in 17th tonight. Ryan Glover, Zach Nurnberger. Let's see here. Nami Lee. We finally got pronunciation correction there. Thanks to Nami for filling me in. And Nick Brown are going to round out your top 21 over in GT3 tonight. All right, so we have these guys get ready to start their sighting lap. Everybody's starting to grid up. So I'd just like to mention, we do have, hopefully, we'll get these new logos. We do have a new series logo that was created for us, so hopefully we'll get to show that. And we'd just like to big thanks to AlienAwards.net for helping sponsor tonight's awesome races and providing trophies at the end of the year. I want to thank Mark and all the guys over at Pony Express for putting on some great racing once again, as we look forward to hopefully 110 minutes of pure action. And there you can see the new E4A Endurance for Amateurs logo. Great job on Mark getting that done. I'll have to find out the name of the gentleman that did those logos.
JR, that was Chris Lawson, actually.
Well, Mr. Sean Adkins, what a surprise.
Yeah, I saw you were running solo. Figured we'd hop in with you. I know we were talking about doing Monday, so figured, hey, this is my favorite series. This is my favorite cars to drive, and so what better way than to spend the evening hanging out with you and watching a little racing, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Sean Adkins. I don't see your name on the list of drivers tonight.
No, but I've taken off this season.
Okay.
I needed a little bit of a break. We needed to be able to refocus, and I think, like you and I were talking the other day, right? Wanted to give some other race sims a little bit of a try, right? A little bit of love. So.
Yep. Well, Sean, we are getting ready to come to the green flag here as Terry Crowger Jr. is leading us down. Now, most people, if you're tuning in for the first time, there is a no passing rule until you get, I want to say it's probably at least past corner 1 tonight. Wouldn't you say, Sean?
Absolutely, and that may have even be all the way down into that first right hairpin. I didn't catch the driver's briefing this evening, and actually we didn't talk about it before the race. So, but as we come up, looks like they're all single file.
Single file. Now, we do that for a number of reasons. One is to make sure that everybody gets underway, because we've had some incidents in the past. But it just allows everybody to get a little heat in those tires. We don't want to ruin anybody's race on half of a lap, going into a 110-minute race. But it looks like these guys are underway in the GTE class, and back here, and you can see already, Sean, we are going to have a mess. It looks like we have an incident with Richard Hurst. Let's see what happened to Richard here. He was having some issues earlier. I don't know if he's having connection issues, but he was just having some issues.
I think we just saw it.
Nope, just ran off a little wide. Not a big deal. But Sean, I was looking at qualifying times, and we're only 3 seconds between GT and GT3, and you having driven this series a lot of times, that's a pretty small gap between two classes. It's going to make passing even harder for those GTE guys tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And that was definitely, I ran one race this year. I'll probably run a couple others as we get to a couple of my favorite tracks. But we noticed that Le Mans. Actually, at Le Mans, the GT3s, if they got a good enough draft, I actually had a GT3 suck up on the draft and get around me, get the inside through the first bus stop. So, yeah, it's much more limited now, especially with these high downforce setups. It definitely makes it a lot closer than it's been in seasons past, for sure.
Yeah, it has definitely made a difference. Now, I know there's been some talk about next season maybe changing the power band a little bit on some of these, so you get a little bit bigger gap. And I like the bigger gap, because then you're not stuck inside that different class for as long. You get out of there a little bit quicker.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, there's definitely a sweet spot in the speed differentiation, right, between classes. When we started with the LMP2 earlier this year, right, there was a little bit too much speed disparity between the two classes. But yeah, you definitely want to have some because it makes it a lot better for both classes, right? It makes the higher class car be able to get around the slower class without really impacting either of their times significantly if they work together.
Correct. And that's kind of it helps both drivers in that case. You get around, you're out of danger, you clear them, you don't necessarily screw up their line, they don't screw up your line. But when they're this close, especially with the GT3 cars having anti-lock braking systems, they can actually drive in a little bit deeper, they can be a little bit harder on the brakes, and it really sometimes makes a mess of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, and you're absolutely right. Because the with more downforce on the GTEs, obviously they can get through the corners. And we got
Sean,
Roger Shank going around.
Roger Shank, hopefully he can keep it off the wall. Just a little bit. Hopefully
just
that
backed in.
Not what we wanted to see Roger tonight. In fact, we're going to get a chance Friday. Sean, you are joining me in the podcast booth.
Yeah.
And we will be joined by Roger. We have another issue. Let's see what happens here. We have newcomer Sarah Tessum. I'm not familiar with Sarah. Let's see what happens here. As it looks like, oh man, she just kind of dove up the inside there a little bit, maybe too late. It's hard to tell. But it looks like everybody, maybe a little bit of minor damage, but not too bad.
That's good. Yeah, and back up front, Terry's already stepping out on the guys. He's a 1.2, looks like 1.2 seconds in front of Ryan Tyler. But it looks like, boy, in GT3, we are just almost nose to tail.
Yeah, these guys, Carl is, he's running a good race, but Nicholas Paletti is not letting him get away. Now, Nicholas is, he's up there leading the points battle in this race, and Carl's fast. We've seen him be fast. We saw him be fast at Bathurst race. He's just fallen behind. He's had a few tough races, and his championships has taken hurt. But I know Carl. He oftentimes is up there in the lead pack.
Yeah, for sure. Between it seems like this season, there's a few guys that have really stepped up in the GT3 area. Obviously, Marcus Osborne has just been driving phenomenally. I know he's taken the night off, but he has really, really done well this season and been fast. Same thing with obviously Carl. Aaron Clayball has been quick. We've had quite a few. It's been fun to watch.
Yes, it's definitely been fun to watch, and we have and Red Bull Ring is gonna lead to this. You're gonna get a lot of really tight races. It's not really a big enough track for everybody to get spread out. So you're gonna get a lot of times where you're gonna have these little 2-3 car battles all over the place. Other than Terry Kroger, who's just, he is laying down lap after lap here. Everybody else is pretty close, and I would imagine at some point in time here, we're going to start to get a. What am I trying to say? They're going to start to get caught up with the GT. The GT3s are going to start catching up with the GT3s.
Right.
And it's really going to make things all that more difficult.
Well, I tell you what, I'm watching Brad McCombs all over the back. And we had a little bit of an issue. Looks like going into turn. What is that? Is that turn 1? Looks like Daniel Higley.
Daniel Higley and Nick Brown. Brad McCombs just gets in there and just taps the back of him a little bit. Brad got in there a little bit too deep.
Not too bad, though.
No, I think everybody's going to get away fine on that one.
Yep. And now I've got, we just, looks like may have looped it around right here.
Looks like Brad had a little bit of help, maybe.
Oh, did he?
It looks like Brad may have had a little bit of assistance in that one.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I see it.
Yep. It looks like, let's see what happens here. It looks like we had Carl maybe just ran it a little bit wide. Yep, gets off, and and that's all it takes. In fact, looks like, Nicholas Paletti was able to to use that to his advantage and come up on the inside and able to get around Carl. Is Carl able to hold it? Nice, clean racing by those gentlemen. Everybody giving each other a little bit still. You know, we're only 7 minutes in. There's not really a reason to, you know, you want to push on, but I don't think you want to get yourself into a position where you're going to ruin your night.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've really tried to, right, is to work with the drivers on. And we got another one?
Alexander Hammonds coming into that final corner. And just, there was some net code there if I've ever seen it. I don't know if you could see the replay on that, but man, Alexander.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
At least on my screen, he had a good half a car length and just looked like net code just shot him across the screen.
Yep, absolutely. And looks like we had, what was that, Alexander Hammonds?
Yeah, that was Alexander Hammonds had that issue there.
Yeah, but you're right, because you could clearly see daylight. So netcode strikes again.
Yep. Now, for those that don't understand what we mean when we say netcode, these cars are all running on computers, and sometimes computers don't do the math fast enough, Sean. Can we just call it that?
Yeah, I think so.
So one car will be next to another car, and the computer thinks they're actually hitting each other when maybe they are, and we're seeing the video different, or maybe they're not. But it's kind of a common thing sometimes, unfortunately, where two cars get close enough together and the computer thinks you hit and sends one of them packing.
Yep, for sure. And it's always an unfortunate event because it's not really necessarily the fault of either driver. It's just situational.
Yep. Now, I know a lot of people will say, oh, what do we got going on? Anything?
I don't think so, but I was going to say, going back to what we were talking about before, yeah, that's the big thing, right? Endurance racing, you got to just kind of be patient. Now, especially the first half of the race, it really needs to be a lot more patience, give and take. If someone's faster than you, let them by, right? Because if they bin it, and you're going to get the spot back. And once you start getting, obviously you want to stay close to the leaders, but it's really about, and that's what we've tried to work with the drivers on, of just taking, having that patience, right? Having that ability to manage the race and not just think of it as trying to turn 100 minutes of hot laps.
Yes. Yeah. And that was the main reason originally for the no passing until turn 2 or turn this, because you had a lot of guys who were trying to win the race on lap 1.
In turn 1. Speaking of which, we are joined by the Sheriff Mark Dillon right now.
Mr. Dillon, welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much. We're just kicking back, enjoying some wonderful racing.
Yeah, I just heard there was free Red Bull in the booth, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Bud.
All the ones you can bring, sir.
Some Bud.
Yeah.
It's free. You just have to bring your own.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of carnage there the first couple laps. But nothing on lap 1 that earned a penalty. I can tell you that much. It was self spins and whatnot.
Dan Hingley just got turned.
Yeah, I was watching Gary Beal just kind of lost the rear end coming in there. And I haven't seen the Hingley one, so it's not popping up. Let's see if we can find Mr. Hingley.
Yep. He came, where was that?
Well, it looks like he was able to get up and get running again, so that's good. Now, Mark, I seem to notice I was on the website. Oh, and Daniel Hingley again. Maybe I'm just not catching up. And looks like Jimmy Covert's had an incident. Now coming down into this tight downhill. Oh, looks like he gets caught up in the Daniel Hingley accident.
Yep, the second spin. Yep.
But back to you, Mark. I noticed on the website we have a few different things coming up next season. You care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so honestly, ever since Dennis won 3 championships in a row, we've struggled to try and figure out what kind of progression system we should have here, if any. And obviously it's taken us a while to kind of figure that out and nail it down. And we tried to do a Thursday night advanced GT3 type of deal, but it just didn't really get any numbers. I think our new format for that, the Dark Horse Endurance, it'll still be on Wednesday nights.
Sorry, Mark.
Obviously, go ahead.
Paul Boyle and Tyler Langenberg just kind of got caught up there. Looks like both drivers were able to get away. Sorry, Mark.
But yeah, so most of our drivers are used to running on Wednesday night, so starting a series on Thursday night apparently didn't work. So we'll try an advanced endurance series on late night Wednesdays, where hopefully Dennis will be there, and any other past champions will have somewhere to move up and progress to, and then we figure we'll just carry that over to our other disciplines too, open wheel and NASCAR. So you'll start the week with some amateur series for NASCAR and open wheel, and by the end of the week you'll be doing advanced NASCAR and advanced open wheel. So
make sure you learn quickly.
Yes. So what are the new requirements for the advanced series?
Well, they are all going to have an iRating floor.
Okay.
So you have to be over 1,000 iRating.
Okay.
So if you're, a true new beginner and your IR's down to 500-600, whatever it may be, you're not going to be able to get into those advanced series.
Gotcha. Well, that's great. And I see we have some nice new logos too. That's awesome. I like those. I got them up on the broadcast here tonight.
We do, yeah. Chris Lawson is apparently a jack of all trades, paint cars, and come up with some custom logos. He did. We had him do some custom logos for all the new Dark Horse series, which will be the advanced side of things. And then I got to thinking, let's freshen everything up and make everything look more professional. So he did some all new amateur logos as well.
Man, they look great. They look just absolutely outstanding.
Yes. Let's see what happened here. Mr. Gary Beals had an incident coming up into that first corner. Wonder if he just gets in just a little bit hot, catches a little bit of that inside curbing. Does not take much here at the Red Bull Ring. These high speed, hard braking zone corners.
Like Ryan Tyler is all over Terry.
Yeah, he is. Those two have been nose to tail.
And now they're coming up on the back of Richard Hurst. Hopefully Richard pulls over and lets these guys go by and doesn't. There we go. Nice job by Richard.
I believe Richard is brand new. This is his first race, so he's well off the pace. But that's what we're here for, is people to learn. And as long as he drives considerately and, as he did there.
And that's what we're here for.
I don't like the word safe. Don't like the word safe space, but.
He saved it, but boy, he drifted that thing around, didn't he?
He did too, yeah. In fact, we're going to see if we can take a quick look at that.
That was great car control, though.
He was trying to keep up with those guys. Look at, he almost kept it going.
Yep.
If nothing else, he's got a job in Forza. He could go over there.
And we saw there he did the right thing. He waited until the track was clear before rejoining.
Yep.
Yes, which is something that a lot of drivers still have yet to figure out. It's amazing how long it takes people to understand. You're not going to gain those positions back. Don't compound the problem.
That's right.
But yeah, it looks like Terry and Ryan are going to be locked in this battle for quite a while.
Yeah, good thing so I was talking to Terry before the race tonight, and we were kind of discussing a few things, and yeah, he said, tonight I'm just going to focus on the driving. And I said, absolutely, turn the Delta off, just hit your marks, be consistent, get in that rhythm, And don't worry about what's going on behind you or around you. Just be deliberate, be methodical, and ignore the delta.
Did you hear that, Mark?
I'm sorry, I was looking at Brad and Tyler Langenberg had an incident that I was checking out.
Oh, let's check that out. Here we go. See what happens with Tyler and Brad. Brad has had all kinds of issues with this corner tonight.
Yeah, he's gotten rear-ended a couple of times.
Yep.
He's
Looks
gotten
like-
the old Punterino.
Let's see what happens here. Looks like Tyler's...
Side by side for the lead.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Coming down. Oh. Oh, there we are.
Harry had the inside and was able to hold him off.
They come down into, I guess that, I don't know if that's classified as turn 2 or how they count those little tiny corners up there, but as we come into this tight noise, yeah, it looks like, I mean, these two have been running identical lap times. You know, Terry will pull out just a little bit, and Ryan will pull him back.
Yep.
Now, Mark, I did see a few names in here that I have not seen before. Now Tom Corner is back. It's nice to see Tom. I know he's had a couple weeks off there. But I see a Sarah Tessum now. Is that the same?
Sarah Torpedo Tessum from the
Okay,
NASCAR
so
side of things.
She
yeah.
is.
That's right.
I thought that sounded familiar. So she is from the NASCAR side. Hence the number 70 car.
Making her first road race tonight.
Oh,
She's part of a curling league, I guess, up there. I think she's up from Minnesota like you.
yes.
And she does curling on Friday night, so she can't do NASCAR anymore. But
Oh, and there she makes a nice pass as Zach Purcell runs it wide.
I believe
yes,
she actually drives road stuff in real life too.
Oh. Now, you call her Sarah the Torpedo. Is that a given nickname, or is that a
It's given, but iRacing themselves gave her that nickname. The 24 Hours of Daytona, iRacing puts out these videos called the Not So Top 10.
Yes.
And I guess I haven't actually watched the video, but she was in that iRacing Not So Top 10. They called her the Torpedo because due to some circumstances not of her own making, she ended up T-boning someone. And yeah, so iRacing called her the Torpedo, and we just kind of stuck with it as well. It's got a nice ring to it.
It does.
And it's all in fun, because if you go look at the video, it wasn't her fault.
Right, not at all.
That's great. And yes, we do a lot of curling up here in the Northland. Oh, looks like we got an incident with Andrew Malinowski and Tony Watson getting together. So Andrew's trying to dive up the inside.
Oh, sure enough.
Oh, and he just catches the curb, and then the inevitable T-bone when that car in front of you slides around.
Yep.
But it looks like they're both able to get away. Hopefully
Yeah,
not too
not
much
too
damage
bad.
to either car.
But
Yeah,
Now
it looked
this-
like
Sarah's first race, Richard's first race. I think Gary Beal, I think it's his first race as well. So three new people tonight.
Nice.
Well, that's great to see. And it looks like these guys are all kind of... Tony Watson, Andrew, James, and Sarah are all going to be kind of in their own battle here.
Yeah.
Looks like Patrick Ripley's gained a couple seconds on those front two.
Yeah, I think the battle, these two are, once they started to battle a little bit, allowed Patrick to catch up. Patrick, who had a bad qualifying session, I'm not sure what happened there. We were watching him during qualifying, and he ran it wide a few times just like that. But Patrick is up 7 positions already. So Patrick's having a great race.
Oh,
Looks like we had an incident with Roger Shank. Let's see what happened to Roger.
Oh,
Roger,
no.
he's being used up tonight. He looks like a He looks like a ping pong ball. These guys are not being nice to Roger tonight.
And that's a shame too. Roger is.
He's a very clean, very
Yep, and he's
efficient.
4th in points too. So that's not what Roger wants to see happening to the AlienAwards.net BMW.
No,
He takes that
no,
down
he's,
pit road for a fast repair.
he's getting abused tonight, and it's not probably not going to be happy about it.
No.
Yeah, who was that? Was that? I think that might have been.
The
think that
number it was the 91.
Oh, it's Tyler. Okay. Yep. Looks like Tyler's going around the outside as Roger comes up. Tyler ends up. 2 cars, 1 space. Never going to work out.
Nope. Tried it many times. Let's see. Andrew Malinowski's had an incident here.
Oh, yep. He is
Coming
off
up the
in
inside,
turn 1.
and again, yep, just not enough room. You know,
Yeah, and it's a little bit. This is a little bit surprising because honestly, you know, this track right now. So we've got a track temp of 75 degrees, so it's actually a pretty cool track. Good downforce, and this is a very good rhythm track. It really is.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit surprised that we're having some of this, just because you can really get into just a nice little, you know, just pattern of how you're driving around this track. Obviously, you're dodging traffic, but
Well, and you know, we talked earlier about how traffic was going to play a big part because the GTE guys just don't get past the GT3 cars, and look what it's managed to do. As Terry and Ryan were trying to get through traffic, Ryan to Tyler, or Patrick Ripley, excuse me, has pulled right onto the back of Ryan Tyler.
I think it just took a while for that Ford to get heated up.
yeah, get a little heat in those tires and get things sticky.
He's running 26s. He's putting down some good lap times.
He is, yeah, he is almost a full second faster than the guys in front of him.
Yeah, yep. And he is fastest
In fact-
lap of the race.
Yeah, the only person who's hit the 26s. His fastest lap is 0.3 of a second faster than Terry and Ryan. That Ford is coming to life.
Well, it takes those old diesels a little while to get going, I guess. I'll tell you one gentleman that has not had a problem getting going tonight is Carl Handwerk. As he has
Yeah, he is checked out.
put it down and checked out. Nice to see Carl. He was, I said we raced against him and Bathurst, and he was fast. So he's just had some bad luck this year.
Well, so actually, Carl skipped the first 2 or 3 races because we were doing the qualifying servers, and he can't race that early. So I believe that as the season progresses and those races fall off as drop weeks, Carl's going to be right there at the top of the points. He is the defending GT3 champion.
Yes. Yep. And these 3, Terry Kroger, Ryan Tyler, and Patrick Ripley, are in this nice battle. And they're coming up on some slower traffic. This is going to get pretty interesting here. These guys in front of them are all fighting for position.
Yep, they've got a traffic jam for sure. Look at that. So Patrick has started 11th. Yeah, so he's up 8 spots overall so far. Great driving.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't. There we go. Throw
All
that
right,
up on the on the broadcast. Everybody can see how many positions these guys are gaining. Same with Ronnie Osmer. Now, I was talking about Ronnie a little bit before the broadcast. Now that the NASCAR season is in full swing, I would imagine Ronnie's going to be able to dedicate less and less
Patrick
time.
Ripley stuck.
He gets stuck in that traffic.
Oh, no. Big wreck.
Some GT3
Nami.
cars.
Yeah, he just
Nami
got lifted off.
Dan Coleman.
Wrong place,
Nami
wrong
just
time.
stops in the corner there. And I'm not sure what. Oh, Dan Coleman just trying to get back on track and just lifted poor Nami right up.
Yep.
That is a that looks almost the exact same thing that happened to poor Nami at Bathurst.
Hmm.
Those guys are going to take it back to the pit, use up that fast repair. Luckily for Patrick Ripley, he was able to get through there without getting caught up in that mess.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Well, now he's got all that work to do over again.
Yep. And this is where, you know, we kind of we're talking earlier, and this is where that give and take comes in, right? What are we, 30 minutes into this race right now, just about 31 minutes, and this is the kind of thing we really need to be seeing, where drivers are giving each other a little give and take, right? A little patience, a little bit of grace. And I think in that one, we may not have had it. Again, two cars, one spot, never going to work.
Nope, it does not work. See, it's really weird, Sean. You say that we're 31 minutes into this race. SDK tells me that we're only 28 minutes into this race. So
that's probably actually correct. I'm looking at the iRacing elapsed time. My apologies. Which starts kicking off when they grid. Yep.
Yes. Which is just some of the little nuances you kind of have to figure them out as you go along. And SDK's got its own little confusing moments, let me tell you. Every time somebody pulls into the pit, I get they crashed. They're just going in the pits.
Here we go. Terry trying to get by Zach.
And Zach does a nice job getting out of the way.
Uh-oh.
Ryan Tyler has been disappearing quite a bit this evening. He's blinking pretty bad.
That's got to be scaring the crap out of Patrick.
I believe Ryan is up there north of the border.
Yes,
Canada.
I believe you are correct. What are you trying to say? We got bad internet this far north?
Looks like Dan Coleman coming off pit road.
Yeah, hopefully. Yep. Oh, and I lost. There we go.
So Zach's having, Zach Nurnberger's having a pretty good race as well. He's up 6 positions overall so far.
Side for the lead again. This time Ryan Tyler's got the inside.
Uh-oh.
And Ryan Tyler, well, when he's there, he's got the inside. And they got traffic coming in front of him.
He's there.
Looks like he's going to be able to make that stick. And Patrick might be able to... Oh, Terry is going to... Oh, what a battle.
Yeah, I think
Terry's able to hold that off.
Yeah, Terry in the in-game comms just said he can't tell where Ryan is.
Yeah, Ryan is really... And we've all been in this position before. It's so hard to not run into that guy. You have no clue if he's wide, if he's center, if he's left. And then all of a sudden he comes back, and I think we've all had issues where a guy disappears and he comes back and he's in your car or you're in his car.
Here comes Ripley.
Yep, I'm seeing Ripley coming alongside. Uh-oh.
Ripley's going to make that pass. Oh, and Terry.
All over the bumper.
Pepper. Great racing from these guys.
Yeah,
Terry gave him a little tap there.
Yep. In fact, we're going to jump inside of Terry.
But like you were saying about the blinking cars, like it's not even just running into them. Just being anywhere near them, you could get net coded and taken out.
Yeah, and we've seen a few net codes already tonight, haven't we, Sean?
Yes, we have. Absolutely.
I know for me, on the NASCAR side of things, if there's someone that's blinking, I avoid them like the plague.
Yeah, and I think that was smart of Terry. Just let him go by. He's having some, connection latency issues. So, keep the car clean, right? That's the end goal. Keep the car clean for the end.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to win the race right now. But at the same time, you don't want to let these guys run off and, pull a Carl Handwerk on you and they disappear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of what it's looking like they're doing here. I mean, they've already put a little gap between them two and Terry.
Yeah, Terry's lap times have dropped off. He just ran a 29.5, it looks like. So he's running a little slower lap times for sure right now. I'm hitting-
Pat for the lead. Ryan Tyler just he hit that curb in turn 1 and got
Saw that.
sideways.
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of
And that's
allowed
gonna
Terry
allow-
to suck right back out. Yeah.
Yep. Patrick Ripley is taking the lead. Now, we've seen Patrick all night has been fast. And to be curious to see if these guys are able to keep pace with him.
He'll be looking to use that pace and pull away and get away from Ryan Tyler, just
Just
for
because-
nothing else, to not get net coated.
To not get
Yeah.
net coated.
And they do have another GTE car in front of them that they keep trying to put a lap down. Tyler Langenberg.
Yeah, Tyler's not exactly had himself a good night. Down 4 positions.
Yeah, he's
Tyler,
had a
though, despite
couple of incidents.
a couple incidents, but Terry Kroger has, well, I don't know. I say that between all 5 of those GTE guys, any one of them is going to walk away here with the championship lead. They are all within 8 points, so it's not going to take much for somebody new to stand on top of the overall standings tonight. We need to get red plates, Mark, like the motocross guys do.
Yeah.
See, we've got Ronnie Osmers coming in the pits.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the pit strategy is in this race. We are 35 minutes in, so we got to be getting pretty close. And it doesn't look, as of yet, that Patrick Ripley's been able to pull away from Ryan Tyler. He's been able to stay right with him.
Yeah. They are definitely staying nose to tail. Yeah, he's right up on him. And it looks like Tyler just worked with the 3 leaders and worked it out, and they all got around him, so that's good.
You know, you never want to get lapped, but sometimes it's just beneficial to pull over and let those guys go by, and oftentimes try to learn from them. You know, you try to jump on the back of the train and see if you can't figure out where they're faster than you and pick up a few tips along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Now it looks like Terry Kroger is pulled into pit lane, so bringing that Porsche down pit lane. I can't imagine, Sean, where we're going to see anybody taking tires tonight.
I can't imagine. I mean, yeah, because number one, the guys in here, I swear they look at tires like the plague, man. It is, nobody wants to ever take tires. And so with a cool track temperature like today, and the way this track does flow, it should be pretty good for the drivers today, not having to take anything. Not like last week.
Well, last week, again, nobody wanted to take tires last week except for Carl Handwerk, and his 22-second victory proved that taking tires was a pretty good idea.
It sure was. Boy, if he ever showed that you could effectively come in and between the time lost in the pits, being able to gain that time back because of how much everybody else's tires fell off.
Yeah.
Right? It was absolutely the call.
Yeah, he was almost 5 seconds a lap faster near the end of the race.
Yeah, it was insane. Some of those guys were, darn near at single digits on tire life. They got every penny out of those.
Yep. And Patrick Ripley's going to bring it down pit road. So
Ryan Tyler stays out.
Ryan Tyler is able to squeeze another lap out of that BMW.
Yeah, Terry did take fuel only.
Yeah, Terry Kroger with a 21.82 second pit stop. We'll see how long Ryan Tyler's in for. Or, excuse me, Patrick Ripley's in. And be curious to see where these guys cycle out. Sometimes you go into pit lane hoping to get out of traffic and you end up coming back in stuck in more traffic.
Absolutely.
There's a few open spots on the track right now, but things are starting to get spread out a little bit.
Looks like Patrick Ripley, similar pit time to Terry.
Yep.
Yeah, exact.
Yeah, 3/10. So.
And it looked like Brad McCombs and Ronnie Osborne. Well, Brad was back on lap 15, but Ronnie's was actually from pit entry to pit exit was 2 seconds faster than both Patrick and Terry.
Yeah, I see
That's
that.
Interesting.
Maybe a little bit less fuel. Maybe he's done some fuel calculations and took a gallon less, knowing he was going to have to stop again later.
Yeah, that'll be something to keep our eye on for sure as we get into the later stages of the race.
Here comes your leader, Ryan Tyler, pit road.
Coming down. Oh, he almost had an incident there with some GT3 guys in front of him. Meanwhile, over here, Mr. Carl Handwerk has just been laying down 129s all night long. I mean, he is...
His fastest lap is... Well, go ahead.
The only GT3 car to do so.
Yeah, I mean, he's running... His fastest lap is a 29.72, and his last lap was a 29.74. So, yeah, you want to talk about consistency?
This man is on
everybody
a mission.
else running 30s.
30s, 31s. Yeah, in fact, Nicholas Paletti, his best lap is a 130.1, so his best lap is 4/10 slower than Carl's last lap. Just goes to show you how dominant Carl has been.
Ryan Tyler comes off pit road, sandwiched right between Ripley and Terry again.
Yeah,
So
it looks like his pit road was 41 seconds, so 1 second slower.
Ripley with a problem.
Patrick Ripley has an issue in turn 1. See if we can see what happened there with Patrick Ripley coming into, I believe that's long into turn 1. Yep. Now he's going to be on cold tires. Oh yeah, he just gets in a little hot, misses his apex. Manages to keep it on track. So we raced 40 minutes, we did a pit stop, and these three cannot separate from each other. That is some great racing.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Which is all you can ask for. But again, that's one of those things that this league brings you. You don't usually get that person that's going to run away. Not this season.
No, that's been the improvement for sure, right? Is that we've seen the competition level really step up this season. You talked about it earlier. Our top, 3 or 4 in GTE are separated by 8 points.
By 8
Boy,
points.
you don't get tighter.
Well, yeah, the top 4 are only separated by 1 point. 1 point each.
1 point each. Now we get Patrick Ripley, Ryan, and Terry are going to stuck in some more traffic here.
Yeah, that was short-lived, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, they made... But you can see how those GT3 cars... and Patrick goes around, and he's not able to keep it off the wall. Oh.
Yeah, his wing's looking okay. It's got a little wrinkle in it.
Not too
looks
bad.
like maybe his steering may be a little wonky. He may have knocked it cattywampus.
Yep.
I'll have to watch him to see if... Boy, that's too bad.
Yeah, that wing looks a little...
Yeah,
bent.
he looks like he's back up to speed, though.
Yep.
So maybe the suspension's okay. Just got a little bit of a wing torque. Hey, that's just going to give him a little bit more downforce.
Right. Carl Handwerk has made his pit stop. James Foreman and Zach Purcell are in the pits right now, so we'll see where... There's a good chance Carl is going to maintain his lead even through his pit stop. And it looks like he has managed to do that. So Carl is putting on an exhibition here tonight. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Carl north of the border as well? Why do I think he's...
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have no idea.
Ryan Tyler's managed to gap
wanna
Terry Kroger a little bit too.
Yeah, I will say though, I think you might be right. That's actually one of the coolest things is that this really is an international series.
Patrick Ripley had another incident?
Yes.
Oh man,
Just coming into turn 1 and just
coming apart.
That's the second lap in a row he's had issues with that corner. That downforce changed just a little bit.
Yeah, good point.
And we've all been in that position where you're racing hard and you have an incident and it's really hard to get out of that mindset of now I'm going to race angry for a few laps because I made a stupid mistake and it was my fault. And a lot of times that ends up costing you more than you realize. Even though Patrick's had a few incidents. Oh, what do we got here?
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Big trouble for Terry.
Andrew McMurray. So we had Andrew McMurray's in front of Terry, and Terry just gets no place for Terry to go, and he hits him twice. Oh, Terry. And then he almost catches Ronnie Osmer. Oh, now Terry's upset. Now he's backing into the wall, and looks like Zach Nurburger's had an incident. Or did he get caught up in that mess?
I don't know, but I will tell you. Oh, and then Terry backed it into the. Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Let's see. It's telling me that Zach had an issue, but oh, what a shame for Terry. He was having a great race, and unfortunately got caught in somebody else's issue.
We'll be right back, JR. I'm gonna pull Sean aside a second.
Okay. Well, here we are. We got Ryan Tyler leading Patrick Ripley now by 8.5 seconds after Terry Kroger had an issue. Unfortunately, having such a great race tonight too. So that is your top 3 in GTE. Meanwhile, down here, and I feel bad we haven't had much to talk about in GT3 is Carl Handwerk has just been laying down the laps tonight. Second place we have Nicholas Paletti with Jimmy Covert right on his tail. You'll notice that Jimmy Covert car looks an awful lot like the Carl Handwerk car. Those two are teammates. This is one of your close, although we have, let's see if Zach Purcell and Sean Crowley are in a battle here for 9th position. Coming across the start-finish line, separated by 0.2 of a second, and running almost identical lap times. So Terry Kroger's managed to get that Porsche back into pit lane, get some repairs done. Hopefully he'll be able to get out and get back up to speed rather quickly. Without, hopefully doesn't lose a lap. It'd be nice to see Terry stay on the lead lap. As we see Zach Purcell and Sean Crowley battling for 9th position. See, and up front it looks like Jimmy Covert and Nicholas Paletti are having themselves a nice little battle here for the final podium spot. That BMW of Nicholas Paletti followed closely by the Ferrari of Jimmy Covert. Meanwhile, Patrick Ripley is running in 3rd, and he's got Ronnie Osmer all over the back of him. Oh, Ronnie runs it in there a little bit hot. Gets that Corvette. Managed to slow it down without running off track, though. So Ronnie, who has had himself a quiet race, has quietly moved himself up to 3rd place tonight. Patrick Ripley, who one point in time was running in the 126s, has dropped all the way down to the high 128s. Ronnie's off the pace a little bit. He ran in a little bit hot that last time. Just cost him a little bit. We got David Lehman back here. He's being chased down by one Mr. Brad McCombs. David, who's having a season battle up for that points championship. He's up there in the top 5. Nice to see David up one position from starting, so he qualified 5th, having a good consistent race. As now we see Patrick Ripley started to drop that pace a little bit. He's down into the 127s again. Unfortunately, he is a full 10 seconds behind Ryan Tyler. Oh, and Brad McCombs just gets it a little bit wrong there. Able to save it though. Nice save from Mr. Brad. Zach Purcell and Sean Crowley are still locked in this battle for 9th position. See, looks like Roger was able to get that BMW into pit lane and get it fixed up. Got the wing repaired on there, used that fast repair to his advantage. Roger, unfortunately, down in 14th place, although he is up 4 positions, so for Roger, might have had a little bit of issues in qualifying, or this might just not be his track. As Terry Kroger is coming up on the back of Roger now. Roger lets Andrew Malinowski go by there. Like we talked about earlier, Roger is a very clean driver, very much a gentleman's driver. He's not going to put up a fight where it's not necessary. As you can see him, he's holding his line, letting Terry take the inside, not going to pressure him, let him go. Nice racing by Roger. Look forward to talking to Roger, getting to know him a little bit better, as he will be on the podcast. Friday night we record the podcasts, so for those of you that are listening, you want to check it out, PESimracingpodcast.com. check us out, give us a like and a subscribe. I appreciate it. That's normally it is myself and Tyler Berger. This week Sean Atkins will be joining me in the booth. Looks like we have a couple incidents here. Like Daniel Higley's had an incident. See if we can find out what happened to Daniel here real quick. Looks like he's all by himself. Probably just got in just a little bit too hot. Yep, see he's already missed that braking marker. No harm, no foul there for Daniel. He's able to get that back up and run it again. That's nice to see. There we go. Sometimes these overlays start overlaying on top of each other, get a little difficult to see things. So once again, we got Ryan Tyler, who's got an 8.5 second lead now. So Patrick Ripley starting to eke into that lead just a little bit. He is about a half a second a lap faster than Ryan Tyler is. He's managed to gap Ronnie Osmer by about 2 seconds now, so Patrick is starting to find pace once again. Hopefully he can find enough pace to catch back up to these guys. Meanwhile, Carl Handwerk down there in the GT3 class is just doing what Carl does, running nice consistent laps, managing to pull out a little bit of a lead every so often. Looks like David Lehman's had an issue. Oh, see what happens with Mr. Lehman. Oh, he just gets in there a little bit hot, and oh, hopefully that doesn't cause too much issues. He's able to get that back on track. David Lehman, another gentleman from north of the border there. Well, we are 51 minutes into this race, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to step away for a moment for a break. And we will let you follow around with the leaders and any other exciting action, and we shall be back shortly to wrap up the rest of round 7
from Red Bull Ring. right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Well, I shouldn't say we, I am back. Live from Red Bull Ring, round 7 here in the Endurance for Amateurs series. Let's get caught up on where we are. We still have Ryan Tyler, still has an 8-second lead over Patrick Ripley, who has stretched his gap over Ronnie Osmer to a further 9 seconds now. So that's your top 3 in GTE. GT3, Carl Handwerk has just managed to run away with things tonight. Still putting down consistent 130, 129 lap times as he's managed to stretch that into a 23-second lead over Nicholas Paletti. Nicholas, however, cannot seem to shake Jimmy Covert tonight. These two have been locked for the last 20 minutes. Now, I'm not sure if Jimmy is just staying behind, watching and learning from Nicholas, or if that's just the pace these two are at. But they are running, I mean, identical lap times. Nice to see that from these two gentlemen. Let's take a quick run through here. We got Mr. Brad McCombs, who's in the pit lane. He was in 4th place. Mr. Paul Boyle, currently, well, he is running in 6th place right now. Imagine he will overtake the 5th position as he comes across. Well, Brad McCombs is sitting in pit lane. We have Doug Augubright, a few seconds back of that, followed by our first half race leader, Terry Kroger Jr. After some really bad incidents, he had kind of got caught up in somebody else's mess down there in turn 2, or well, the second hairpin, we'll just call it turn 2. And then we have Daniel Higley and Tyler Langenberg. Looks like Atticus Middleton is 12 laps down, and Gary Beal is out of this race. Over in GT3, we got Carl Handwerk leading handily over Nicholas Paletti, who has Jimmy Covert all over his tailpipe. Behind them, in 4th place.
And Ronnie, it looks like Ronnie and Roger Shank. Roger Shank was a victim again.
Not again for Roger. Welcome back, Sean. Oh, Roger. Oh.
Man, this is like when we went to Hockenheim that one time, and Sean got treated like a pinball, mainly by me.
Yeah, well, that was in the hairpin too. Bink.
Well, nice of you gentlemen to join me once again.
Yeah, apologies for that. We had to just take care of a little bit of housekeeping and.
Oh no, it looks like Patrick Ripley's had another incident.
We're actually just refilling our drinks.
That's fine. Oh, Patrick, just gets it all wrong. Not sure what happened there. Just the back end locked up. And Patrick, now, we know these guys didn't take tires, but I can't imagine where tire fall off has gotten to the point where Patrick is having this many issues. Because he seems like ever since he made that last pit stop, he has been having nothing but problems.
Yeah, interestingly, he's running, his last lap was a 27.5. So they're starting to run, him and Ryan are running, those mid-high 27s now. So I think it may just be an issue of overdriving the corner, maybe a little too much entry speed.
Yeah, he was consistent there for about 15 minutes, didn't put a tire wrong, and then he went in, had that pit stop, and he blew through the first corner a couple laps. He's had a few off tracks, and well, here comes Roger again, gonna pull out right in front of Ronnie.
Yeah, he just came off pit road.
Yep, just comes off pit road. Let's hope that.
So honestly, I think Roger was actually braking in that corner to get onto pit road. And that's why he was so slow. I think he was trying to pit. Oh, and
Ronnie goes
behind
around. Able to keep it off the wall. Now, for those that follow F1 and have been to this track and seen this track, that's an issue during the F1 races. That entry to pit lane here is right in the ideal line where you want to be for that corner. I
feel like I remember Sean saying that last season as part of the driver's brief.
Yep.
Yeah, talk to each other. Let people know, hey, I'm pitting in. I'm pitting in.
Yeah, because you are in the ideal racing line when you're coming down there almost. And it's amazing at how many people get it wrong. And you don't expect that guy to be pulling in the pit lanes, and the next thing you know, you're hitting his bumper.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully, I see Carl is... Oh, do we have... Did Ronnie spin again, or is this the same... Oh, this is just from earlier. Sometimes SDK gets a little confused.
Looks like Atticus is our first stop and go victim of the night. But I take it back. Looks like Paul Boyle already had one. Atticus has one now, and I'll tell you what. Most of the field has 20 to 25 incidents already.
Now, Mark, what is the limit before you have a stop and go?
30.
30. So Terry's got 30. Or no, that's pit laps. There we go.
Yeah, Terry's only at 18.
Yep.
But we do have some guys out there, 22, 25, 29.
Roger just got one, I think.
No, Roger has a black flag, I think, for an off track because he only has 9X.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Looks like Richard Hurst got a stop and go.
Daniel
Ronnie,
Hingley's 1 incident point away from getting a stop and go.
Those Ronnie Osmer, Zach Nurnberger's at 28. Yeah, a lot of these guys are a blade of grass away from an extra trip down pit road.
A blade of grass.
That's
That
all
is
it
not
takes.
something you want to have to deal with this evening.
I almost got one last season. I had like 22.
Well, here we see Carl trying to get around Roger. I'm going to guess Roger's sitting in that car just hoping this race is over soon.
Yeah. We may
Looks
have
like-
to.
Looks like Nicholas Paletti has pulled in for his final pit stop of the race, giving up second place.
We may have to discuss Red Bull for next season. I don't know what it is about these F1 tracks. They just don't fare well in our races.
Yep.
I would tend to disagree, but we can discuss that later.
Well, here we have Ronnie and Roger once again. Hopefully things go better this time. We're going to watch these two just to make sure Roger doesn't... All right. Guys, leave Roger alone.
Yeah, Roger's been beat up enough tonight.
Yeah, well, I think it was, so last week was Interlagos, right?
Correct.
Correct.
That was the first race we've ever had since we started giving a bonus points away for having low incident counts. That was the first race we've ever done where not a single person got a bonus point. Nobody kept it clean at Interlagos.
I don't think
Yeah,
we're...
I'm
It
just
doesn't
not
look like it's
sure.
going to be much better tonight.
Yeah, and what's the difference, right? I'm not sure. Maybe it's, I think to some degree, I think with the drivers, some of these tracks aren't ran all the time, right? So everybody runs Watkins Glen, Daytona. I mean, they happen quite a bit in all the series. And I think some of these tracks, while they're getting more now, and especially when Red Bull first came out, right, it was everywhere. But I think as people just don't have, I don't think, as many laps on these tracks versus some of the, the staples. I don't know if that's true, but that's definitely a possibility. I'm kind of thinking that's what's been affecting us.
From what I know, the Red Bull Ring has some really bad off-track limits.
It does. You are right.
So just going slightly wide,
Right there.
too wide in some of these parts,
turn
gives you
one.
1x automatically. And it over a course of an hour, 40 minutes, you're going to easily reach that limit.
Well, here we see Mr. Ryan Tyler working his way through the battle between Nicholas Paletti and Jimmy Covert. Now, Nicholas and Jimmy are going on almost 40 minutes of being within a second of each other. They went through 2 rounds of pit stops and have still managed to find each other on the track as they pull over and they let Ryan Tyler get by. So it's right now that's the battle, which at the moment is for 6th place, but these two have already done their second set of pit stops.
Currently, Nicholas Paletti, the cleanest car on track. He only has 2 incident points.
Wow, that's impressive.
Carl is in for his final pit stop of the night. See where Carl shuffles back into the mix of things here. Yeah, 2 incidents for Nicholas, and he has been, like I said, him and Jimmy have been bumper to bumper for the entire race almost. Which also goes to show a lot for Jimmy Covert. You know, he's managed to stay right in there but not cause any issues. You know, not get into the back of Nicholas at all. Some great driving by those two tonight.
And you'll see Paletti pushed wide in turn 1 there and got his 3rd incident point.
Way to go, Mark.
Our GTE points battle that we talked about, you know, we got 4 guys all separated by 1 point. David Lehman being one of them up there running in 4th place. But to his credit, he's the only GTE car in line for a bonus point right now.
And it looks like Patrick Ripley is back on pit road for his final stop.
Patrick comes in. Ryan Tyler's started off this race struggling to fight, and looks like we have an incident with Zach Nuremberger, possibly? I can't imagine Zach having an incident. Could you guys?
No, never.
Not Zach.
Heard him
Zach?
apologize, but I didn't catch what it was for.
No,
I
he
did
just
not
ran it a
either.
little wide.
I want to, so we talked about those new logos for the new series.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The guy that created those, Chris Lawson, up there in 2nd place, looking at his, I think 2nd place would be definitely his best finish of the season, if not his best finish ever.
No, he's won a race before.
Has he won?
Yeah, he won Hockenheim in season 2.
But he's up there in 2nd place right now.
He is in 2nd place, but he still does have to make a pit stop yet. He is...
He could catch Carl. I don't know how fast Carl's going right now. Or
Well,
he just left the pits, that's why.
yeah,
Well,
he's
Carl just left
just
the
pitted
pit.
on lap 46. Yep.
I don't think anybody's catching Carl.
No. Yeah, because Chris is only that close to him because he last pitted on lap 26. So looks like Carl is the only one of the GT3 leaders that has made his final stop so far.
Yes, so these guys will cycle through, which is going to put Nicholas Paletti and Jimmy Covert right back up into the battle for 3rd place, where they have been all night long.
Yeah, and it looks like...
Daniel Hingley with a stop and go.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he
And
touched that
so
blade
it
of grass.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, as we're sitting with the field and it's being jumbled right now, you know, it looks like both Terry and Doug, P8, P9 in GTE, have taken their final pit stops. I think Tyler Landenberger did as well in P7,
Yes.
but it looks like he stopped on lap 39. So this is actually not bad. We'll see how this all shakes out, but Terry definitely is going for the undercut to try to reclaim some of those positions.
Yes, it looks like Paul Boyles had an incident. I'm going to guess he ran it in a little bit hot. Yep, locks up that front end. Thankfully, there's a lot of runoff there at the top of the hill.
Yeah, that is the good thing about this track. There's lots of escape zones.
Believe it or not, when we put that to a poll, the league voted to have the stop and go penalty at 26 incidents, and I actually overruled them and put it at 30 just to still be a little amateur friendly.
Yeah, I
Here
think that
we
was a
are.
good call.
Jimmy Covert and Nicholas Paletti. Oh, and I don't
Ooh,
think
there's an
there was
incident.
contact. Let's see if
Yes,
we
there
can
was.
jump.
You had Jimmy touch him slightly.
Let's see. I don't know. That
Yep.
looked like he was.
Yeah, no, there's audio sound of contact.
Yeah, Jimmy just broke too deep and touched the back of Nicholas Paletti. Caused him to spin.
Mm.
Yep.
And I will tell
Fortunately-
you that has always been one of my biggest fears, is getting punted from the rear. Mark knows it because he's told me plenty of times when we've been at team events, hey man, stop looking in the mirror. Drive out the front window. Don't worry about what's behind you.
I've been punted many times. I know that feeling.
Yep. And it really is a skill, I think, that because what happens, right, is these guys are close, and it'll just be that one time that they miss that braking zone. And if you miss that braking marker, you're going to get in deep, and you're probably going to get in the guy in front of you. Whereas if you're looking and paying attention to his brake lights and maybe just starting to drag it just a tick early, right, that'll give you that separation and that space to where you can avoid that.
We've had another
it's like-
incident.
Oh,
Ronnie
yeah, looks
Osmer
like-
stop and go. That's going to cost him a podium finish.
Oh man.
Incident for Chris Lawson.
Yep, Chris. No, just gets in a little bit too deep.
Yeah, Ronnie Osmer just pitted, and now he's got to come down pit road again for a stop and go.
Dang.
And you know, Mark, we say that it cost him a podium, but there's a pretty good chance that some of these guys in front of him are going to be in that same position.
That's true. He still might get a podium, but he did get a stop and go, which obviously nobody wants to get.
No.
No, that's the good thing, right? There's still about 25 minutes left in this race, so definitely time to recover. But yeah, it'll really be interesting once we see the leaders in GTE take their final pit stop. It looks like Ryan Tyler is on now, and Ronnie Osmer.
Ronnie just came out from his penalty.
Yes.
Ryan Tyler
Yeah.
is
That
in
makes
now.
sense.
And it appears they're actually drive-through penalties. You don't have to actually stop in your box. You just
That
gotta
makes sense.
drive down pit road. So it cost him about 18, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
16 seconds from line to
So
line.
here's Ryan Tyler.
Uh-oh, but Ronnie's around.
He lost it on the exit. He was on the sand on the exit that caused him to spin.
Yep. Just gets in a little bit hot. Oh. Oh, right in front of our GT3 leader. Well, that's going to shake things up a little bit. That's really going to cost Ronnie. It's allowed Patrick Ripley. It looks like the only GTE car is David Lehman has yet to pit. That could potentially put Mr. Brad McCombs on the moving up another step, and Patrick Ripley back onto the podium.
20 minutes to go.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing, right? Unless, Lehman is 54 seconds in front of Brad. So it is feasible. He could get in and out without losing the position.
Yep. Which would be great. David's had a quiet race. It looks like Ronnie Osmer is he's a man on a mission as he dives up the inside of Patrick Ripley there. Ronnie, after having to serve that extra trip down pit lane, and David Lehman is in, so it'll be interesting. Now we get to actually see he is the last of our GTE drivers to pit, which means he did go quite a few laps longer than anybody else.
Yeah, so it's going to take a little bit longer on that fill up. This will be interesting. This will be the that race for second place. I
Brad's
think.
not catching him.
No, I don't think Brad's going to be close enough. As he pulls back out, well ahead of
Yep.
third place.
Oh yeah.
Great drive for David Lehman. That's really going to help his points championship battle.
Oh, Ronnie gets it all wrong.
Ronnie has
That's probably
another-
going to be a slowdown as well.
Yeah, he was way wide.
He is. What was that lawn service called, Mark? We had
Larry's
that-
Lawn Care.
Larry's Lawn Care. I think Ronnie's working on the application. As they come up on the back of David Lehman.
That allowed Patrick Ripley to get by.
And Chris Lawson is on pit road.
Ronnie's is constantly having problems. He's going too deep into corners, messing up exits. But they're still catching
that
Brad
Corvette.
Chevy
So now we
versus
have-
Ford.
Second place, so now we have Brad McCombs is running in third now. Here we have the battle for fourth place between Patrick and Ronnie. These two have been passing each other thanks to the other one's mistakes here a lot this second half of this race.
Yeah, and Brad has recovered nicely. I don't know if he's got enough fuel. He stopped back on lap 41. So he probably has enough, but it'll be interesting to see as we get to the final laps. But yeah, I mean, he's battled back, got himself back into P3, started P2, so, you know, all netted out. He's only lost a position from the start. Great driving by Brad. Good recovery.
Yes.
Looks like
Right.
Terry's caught Paul and Tyler. Or is about to catch Paul.
Yep.
He's still a bit of ways away, though. Like, he's gotta really push it if he's gonna try to catch them.
Yeah, those three are separated by what? About 6 seconds, it looks like?
Yeah, about that.
Yep.
So that is definitely our closest battle inside of the GT.
Oh, Brad just lost it. Brad just lost it on turn 3. On the exit of turn 3.
Oh, sure did.
Trying to get to that.
Yep.
Oh,
That's gonna
Looped it
promote
into the
Patrick
sand.
Ripley and Ronnie Osmer up.
all right. Well, for those of you that don't know, we didn't even think to introduce you. Mr. Dennis Diaz in the booth with us as well.
Yeah, 3-time champion of the E4A Pony Express series.
Right now, I'm watching to see who's gonna join the champion club with me.
So you're not here to help out the broadcast. You're here to scope out the competition.
What competition? My racing days here have been done. I'm just a advisor at this point.
Well, starting with the Dark Horse series, I think hopefully that'll be able to revitalize your get you back in the cockpit.
Yeah, it was fun last race doing the Interlagos one to race again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all these guys having all these incidents has allowed Ryan Tyler to just cruise for the last part of this race here. He managed to pull a 34-second lead, which is
BMW,
yeah,
30-second leads.
Yeah,
We haven't
seems to
seen
be a
this
common
before.
Trend. Yeah. Looks like Paul Boyles had an incident. Just gets in there a little bit too hot, locks up the front end. Now, Sean, we started this broadcast an hour or so ago, and I don't think either one of us saw Ryan Tyler running off to a 33-second lead.
No, the way they were, he and Terry were running there at the beginning, it really looked like we were going to have that top 3 battle between Tyler, Ripley, and Terry. And, I'll be honest, I think that Terry may have used up his tires, just kind of used them up a little faster there, staying out in front of Ryan Tyler. And so I think that kind of bit him, and that's where he started losing those positions. Of course, obviously the big one is with the incident, but yeah, didn't see Ryan stepping away from, if nothing else, you figured Patrick Ripley and Ryan Tyler would continue to battle for that lead.
So Richard Hurst just spun in front of Terry. He's still on the side of the road. He hasn't hit anyone yet.
Richard's had a few incidents tonight, but again, this is Richard's first race. So he is, he's spinning, and we've seen Richard do that a few times tonight, that same corner. And he does the right thing, backs it up and waits. No sense ruining somebody else's race because of your mistake. this battle between Patrick and Ronnie has heated up quite a bit as these two
Yeah.
finally, once they stop crashing and going off track and giving the other one the position.
Yeah, and they've got a little track in front of them, so they've got a clean area to be able to race. So this is going to work out perfectly for these guys. We'll see if Osmer can get back up to Ripley.
Yeah, Patrick has shown a lot of pace tonight, and then it seems like he gets he has an incident, and then he compounds it with another incident, and then another one, and then he settles back in and finds his rhythm. So hopefully, for the last 15 minutes of this race, he's able to stay in rhythm, and him and Ronnie can battle up for that final podium position. Because I don't think either one of them are catching David Lehman or Ryan Tyler unless those two have a really bad incident.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I don't know about you guys, but I know when I have an incident, it's sort of like the old NASCAR, cautions breed cautions. Well, same thing happens in road racing. Incidents seem to breed incidents, because after you have that first one, you know, you get out of that rhythm, you kind of get out of or you get into your own head at the same time, and you just start losing that focus.
Especially, you know, an hour and 40-minute races. It's a long time to constantly maintain focus and to hit every marker. You know, it's not a whole field of Dennis Diaz out there.
That's right.
I mean, even I've made my mistake.
We're going even longer next season.
Oh,
Oh, really? What are we doing next season, Mark?
We're adding 10 more minutes. 110-minute races.
I think there should be a certain point where that stops.
Well, and part of what we're introducing as well, though, is, and Mark can talk more about it, but it's definitely, boy, they both ran wide there.
Oh, here comes Ronnie down the inside, though.
Oh, sure enough, boy.
That was a pretty bold move.
It was.
Especially hitting that curb.
Well, let's take a look at this pass as Ronnie... Oh, wow, yeah, he drives it up in there.
Full send, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, but next year in the E4A series, we're actually going to have, I think, Mark, am I correct that we're going to have teams, at least in maybe GT3B?
We are going to allow drivers to pair up.
Patrick able to stick it back on the inside of Ronnie. Sorry, Mark, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but Patrick able to dive back on the inside of Ronnie, and Ronnie is right back on his tail. Be interesting to see coming into, what is that, turn 3? Patrick's got the inside line. Ronnie's going to have the better exit. Oh, Patrick able to hold him off. So as you were saying, Mark, we'll keep an eye on these two here as this is the battle for your final, or for the second, for your final podium position in GTE.
Oh, so we're going to add 10 minutes to E4A, but we're going to allow drivers to pair up if they want to, so they can run as a team and split the race up and get used to doing the team aspect of iRacing, spotting, doing a driver swap, whatnot.
And hopefully with those teams, it'll help out as well, because you'll have a live spotter, right? And so you'll have someone that can talk to you and say, hey, maybe that's not the best, don't make the move in this corner, or yeah, you're close enough, or whatever. Giving that extra set of eyes is really helpful, and taking away the thought process around any of the fuel strategy or anything else. When you have somebody else helping you with that, you can just focus on your line. That's significantly helpful.
Terry has gotten past Paul Boyle.
Yeah.
It looks like he is now 2 seconds behind Tyler Langenberg. Apologies, Tyler.
Oh, and then who's that? Terry gets it wrong.
Oh, no.
As soon as he does that, then he's got an incident. He's coming around.
He didn't. He tried to.
He got hit.
Yeah, he tried to go down towards the outside of the braking zone.
He just wasn't
didn't realize
clear.
He was there. Yeah, he just wasn't quite clear.
Yep.
Meanwhile, We've got the Torpedo looking at a top
Yeah.
5 in her first race.
I just was clicking over to her. Sarah is having a great race. Paul Boyle is coming up on the back of her here. Hopefully, won't have. Or no, excuse me, that's David Lehman, our second place GTE driver tonight.
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier. I saw that she had moved her way up 7 spots into P5, and I wasn't sure if she was going to have enough of a gap in front of P6 to be able to pit and come back out in front. But
Ronnie
yeah,
on the inside.
Ronnie and Patrick are going at it again.
Yeah,
Take a look at that pass.
Boys, this is a great race between these two drivers.
The switchbacks on each other.
Yep, just diving the inside corner on each other. This is a great race. Nice pass by Ronnie. See if Patrick is able to fight his way back. Patrick's able to fight his way back. On the very next corner, Patrick dives up the inside. So it looks like these two, while they may not have anything for the guys in front of them, they're going to have a battle right to the very end.
Ronnie just needs to make a pass and then break the toe because he's just giving Patrick an easy pass back.
Yep. There's just not enough time here, Dennis, to get away though. I mean, you know, you dive down in the inside so hard that allows that guy to have a little bit better run, and he dives up on you on the next corner.
I mean, there's ways to slightly pull away so you don't have them come back at you. So once Ronnie gets the move done, breaks the toe, and then just covers the inside, that's all you have to do.
Yep.
So we're coming down to our final 10 minutes, guys. Boy, this is gonna be a battle right to the end. Ooh,
Ronnie gets a little bit loose there.
a little squirrely, not bad.
As long as Ronnie can stay within the draft, he can stay right behind Patrick. But he needs to plan out his next move.
Looks like we got a battle down here in GT3 between Tom Corner and Sean Crowley and Zach Purcell. All three of these guys. Looks like
We've
Sean
got
Crowley's
four drivers sitting at 29x with 8.5 minutes to go.
Woo. Keep it clean, fellas.
Any of them in our top group there, Mark, by any chance?
It's Brad McCombs, Zachary Nurnberger, Nami has 28, Chris Lawson has 29,
Oh,
Doug Argerbright has 29.
so it looks like Patrick and Ronnie have kind of calmed down for the moment. Patrick's managed to gap Ronnie just a little bit, at least far enough to where you can't dive up on the inside as Patrick disappears off the screen there for a second.
Oh, and there it is, Tom Corner, as you can see right in front of these guys.
Yep.
He just got a 4X in that corner, and that puts him up to 30. He's got to stop and go.
Tom's got to stop and go. It's going to take him out of a top 10 position, too. What a shame for Tom. Now, I'm going to guess that, looks like these guys
Tom
might
is
get
gonna
caught
end up
up in a
slowing
little
down
traffic.
Patrick.
Yep. Curious to see if Patrick's able to get around one of these guys.
Oh, yep, they've gone right next to each other.
Wow, did Ronnie have a run out of the corner?
Ronnie just needs to back off from these corners and just draft them up to turn 3.
Yeah, I don't know if the word back off is in Ronnie's vocabulary, though, Dennis.
What's going to need to be in the next couple seconds.
I think you're going to see full send after full send after full send from Mr. Ronnie Osmer
Oh, I agree.
as he clips his way through. Now, remember, Ronnie's already had a stop and go or drive-through penalty tonight.
Yeah.
So we got about 5 more laps left for these two. So are you thinking, Dennis, for Ronnie to back off and just maintain that gap and wait till the last lap?
Not necessarily what I meant by back off. I meant just to plan a plan of attack, to attack him in one specific spot where he knows that Patrick isn't too strong at.
Yeah, and backing off allows them right to gather that momentum to be able to carry it into the corner.
Exactly.
Oh, looks like Terry Kroger has had another incident. Let's see what happens with Terry. Oh, maybe not. Oh, it just gets in a little hot.
Terry's at 29x.
Terry, who started off the day so well, the race so good, and has just not had things go well for him here the last hour.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate because he started out strong, that is for sure.
And here comes Ronnie. He has the draft and he had the better exit out of turn 1.
Yep. Patrick,
Yeah,
If Patrick can
that
cover the inside,
line,
then he should be set.
Ronnie's going to try that move again. Here he
Inside.
comes up on the inside.
Oh, he's a lockup. And he's going to get a reverse exit.
Oh,
He didn't loop it though. I thought for sure for a second that thing was going to go around.
now it wouldn't surprise
But
me
he
if
can do
Ronnie
another
tries to...
attack down the inside here.
I
but
was
he
just
needs
going
to
to
be very
say,
careful.
yep. Oh, Ronnie
Oh,
gets a much
Patrick had a
better
little
drive.
wiggle.
Yep. Oh boy, here we go. Battle for third position is going to rage on right to the very end. Patrick holds that inside line.
I know Ronnie can't hear me, but if he puts the brake bias just a slightly rearward, he can dive it in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, just remember to keep that wheel straight.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what kind of speed
He
Ronnie
needs to
pulls
get a
out of
good
there
exit
again.
out of turn 1 to allow him to attack in turn 3.
Yep. Let's see what happens here. Because you're right, that's really the best spot between the front stretch and the stretch to turn 3. That's your 2 opportunities to really draft up to that car to get the momentum run.
And it looks like he did exactly what I
He
said.
got a great drive out of that turn 1. I don't know if he's going to be close enough, though. I mean, that's going to be coming from a pretty far distance back. Nope. He wisely pulls it back in. That would have been a nightmare, I think, if he would have tried that.
Oh,
And he
he
gets
has
a
a
little bit
little
loose
wiggle.
again.
I know
He's just gonna
Patrick Ripley has said that he plans to move up to the Dark Horse Endurance Series next season and run the LMP2.
He was definitely fast in it.
Yeah, he won the race
Yep.
at Canadian Tire.
Perfect. Any more competition?
I think there'll probably be a handful of guys that move up there to run the LMP2 or even GT3 guys who just want a more competitive field and competitive setup, because next season we're going to take things back to how they were season 1. We're going to really cool down the tracks and set up the cars for be completely beginner friendly.
We're also going to get quali setups.
For the Dark Horse, we can do that.
Yeah, because I always added a dynamic in the first season, I remember.
So it looks like Patrick and Ronnie are going to drive this right down the end, but they're going to run into some traffic here before the end of this race that I think might play a big factor in. We saw what happened last time these two came up into some slower traffic. Ronnie pulls right up on the back of Patrick once again. Ronnie seems to be really good on the brakes. He just has a hard time getting that Corvette to hook up and get that drive out of the corner.
Yeah, agreed.
He's wasting more. He's wasting more time trying to get the car out of the gate.
Runs it in wide
really
again.
hard. Oh, Chris Lawson's down the outside.
Oh, and that 1X, that blade of grass just cost Chris Lawson a trip down pit road.
Ah.
Well,
So
that
he's
is
that's
going
gonna
to secure.
Oh, here
That's gonna
comes
take
Ronnie
him-
on the inside.
take him out of 6th and back
Yep.
to 10th.
Ronnie's able to. Yep, Patrick just got stuck behind that slower car.
Yeah, James Foreman in the 666.
Yep.
They both run wide on the second to last corner. I think
Oh.
this might be the last lap, isn't it?
Ripley
I believe-
just got to slow down.
Oh no. Yep. That's going to give Ronnie Osmer, well, potentially give Ronnie Osmer your podium, I believe. Yeah, Ronnie. Oh, that's a shame too, Patrick. And they were having such a great battle. As now Ronnie's coming up on the back of.
Ronnie got to slow down in turn 2 or whatever turn that is.
Turn 1.
Oh boy, it's not over yet.
It is not over yet.
They're going to come up on the back of one Sarah the Torpedo Tessum, who is having an amazing race. 5th place for your first time here in the Endurance for Amateur Series. What a great race by Sarah.
I approve of the
Although-
PlayStation movie.
Would be nice to see that Taco Bell car was. Oh, and Patrick dives in way too deep. Pushing a little too hard trying to catch back up to Ronnie here. Well, I think this might be the first time we have teammates finish 1 and 2 in GT3.
Yeah, Carl Handwerk and Jimmy Covert. Yep.
Technically 1, 2, 3, and 4 because they're all teammates.
Ah. Yeah, we saw
Um,
Carl and Jimmy, I believe, in the Daytona 24. Running
And
together.
at Bathurst.
And here comes Ryan Tyler to the
Yes.
final set of corners on white flag, I believe.
Yep, Ryan Tyler going to bring this home.
Patrick Ripley, another slowdown.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he's trying to get every ounce, use up every inch of that track and get every ounce of performance out of that
now
car
he's
right
at,
now.
he's at 29 now.
And here comes
Oh,
Ryan
no.
Tyler down the final corner. Ready
Oh.
to claim his,
I don't
first
remember what the
victory.
penalty is. You hit 30 on the last lap.
Awesome for Ryan Tyler. Brings it home. Great race for Ryan Tyler. David Lehman quite a ways back in 2nd place.
Yeah, 43 seconds. Boy.
Yeah. Ryan put on a clinic here tonight. Managed to stay out of all of the incidents, unlike everybody else seems to.
That's
found an
definitely a
incident
thing.
or two.
That's definitely a thing that Mark always talks about, and Dennis as well, right? And we saw it all 3 seasons with Dennis. It's all about consistency and keeping the car clean. Just be consistent, be clean, hit your marks, and good things will happen.
Yep. Here we have David Lehman crossing the line in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Carl Handwerk cruised to an easy victory tonight. And his teammate, Jimmy Covert, 2nd place. Here we see Nicholas Paletti coming across the line in 3rd, followed by Aaron Clayball and the rookie.
Good job for Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ronnie managed to gather 6 positions.
That was a great battle. Great battle in the end between those two.
Sarah with her first top 5 in her first race.
Yeah, man,
Yes.
7 positions. That's impressive.
That is awesome for Sarah. Well, Sean, what do you say we go see who we're going to get in the interview booth tonight? I know we'll have Carl. See, he's down there. See who else shows up here. But I suppose we could grab Mr. Carl Handwerk and get him in the booth. What do you say, Sean?
Sounds good, brother.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, GT3 winner once again, Mr. Carl Handwerk. Congratulations, Carl. Nice to have you back in the victory circle. How did things go from your perspective? Looked like a almost pretty boring race for you tonight.
I'll take it. I love boring races. Yeah, it's. I think the first like maybe 10 laps, Nick and Jimmy were able to keep up with me, but once the GTEs kind of got mixed in there and they lost a little bit of ground and they couldn't grab one in the draft a little bit, I was able to check out a little bit. I did some testing with every car here and found out for me at least that the Ferrari was really superior to the rest of them. So um, it seemed like Paletti could get me in the braking zones with the BMW, but then I would just gap him out of the straightaways or out of the corners, and especially in the second sector. So I think that's really what it came down to is just kind of having the right car to get around this track, because it's a little different than most where it's just a lot of sweeping corners.
Well, we watched, and it was astonishing. You were a second to a second and a half a lap faster than everybody pretty consistently all race long. Now, last week you made the decision to take tires, and that proved out to be the race strategy. This week, no tires. Was there ever a thought of putting tires on?
No, that's kind of one of the other things I was working on once I got that little bit of a lead and they were out of my draft. Is I was just trying to drive as smooth as possible. I was still wearing the tires a little bit more than my teammate Jimmy, but at the first pit stop, I was at I think like 83% of the tires, and once I knew that, I knew I could push even a little bit harder in that second stint just to make sure I got that gap and I was going to be good to go on tires. So this track is a little bit newer paved, I believe, so it doesn't chew up the tires like Interlagos does.
Awesome. Well, next week we're off to Monza. Are you similar strategy? Going to go grab a bunch of cars and do some laps at Monza and see what works out best for you there?
Probably, I'll probably do that, but it's kind of hard, not going with Ferrari at Monza. It feels right, and especially back-to-back weeks here, on the top, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm already leaning towards Ferrari, but we'll see how everything pans out. I mean, it's kind of the same where there's some sweeping corners, but there's also some tight corners. So it'll be interesting to see which one hashes out as the best car.
Well, awesome. Well, congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, that was your GTE winner, or GT3 winner, excuse me, Carl Hanwerk. So now, let's, Sean, what do you say we go grab the GTE winner, Mr. Ryan Tyler?
Yeah, let's do that. This will be a good conversation.
Well, I will let you speak with Mr. Tyler.
Hey, Mr. Tyler, Sean and JR here in the booth. Man, what a race, brother. It looked like there in the beginning, between the three of you, between Patrick and Terry and yourself, you were really, really, just kind of the class of the field there. And we know Terry ran some problems, but then you just stepped out and left everybody in the dust, man. How was the race overall for you?
One of my best Pony Express races I've had since joining the season back in season 1. Yeah, it worked out really well for me. I got very lucky with the issues which Terry was having, and then Patrick fell off a little bit. I think he got a 40-second pit lane violation, and I just kept it clean. I did a bunch of laps yesterday, and just tried to focus on my consistency. I know I wasn't the quickest car out there, but I think I was probably one of the consistent lap times. I think I was like 1:27.5 most of the time. So it's a good win.
Yeah, we were looking at the beginning there, and we were talking about the consistency in your laps between from the fastest lap to the last lap at that particular point in the race, and this was fairly well into it. You were running almost the same lap times, lap after lap, and that's definitely it, man. Consistency is key.
Yeah, it was. It was good to follow Terry, give him a little bit of pressure, and honestly, just learn his lines as well. And yeah, it's the way it goes, right?
Absolutely. Well, great win, man. Anybody you'd like to thank for the win tonight?
I know my mum and dad will be watching in the UK. Up late for them, but thank you for watching as always, and any family and friends who are watching as well. And thank you guys for broadcasting, doing a great job.
Absolutely, brother. It's our pleasure, and it's a ton of fun watching you guys. You guys make it easy when we see races like that. So congratulations again. Next week we've got Monza. I may have to even hop back in the car myself. It's such a great track. What are your thoughts on Monza?
Going to be a hell of a race. These cars, this season with the setups, it's once you get in a draft, it's so hard to get out of the draft. So it's going to be close racing. Could be some carnage, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's just hope we survive turn 1 at Monza.
Please.
Well, congratulations again. Have a good night, Ryan, and hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane again next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next week. Have a good week.
You too.
Take care. All right, well, that was your winner in GTE, Mr. Ryan Tyler. And I see we have. So, who do we want next, Sean? We want second place in GT3, or do we want to stick with GTE?
Either or. Dennis, what's your pick?
Let's go with Jimmy.
There you go.
All right, let's go grab. All right, so here we have. Oh, actually, looks like we ended up with David Lehman. So we have David Lehman, who finished second tonight in GTE. Congratulations, David, on a quiet yet. I mean, you were kind of quiet. You didn't really stand out there. We almost didn't even realize you were up there, and then all of a sudden, boom! Here's David Lehman, second place. How did things look from your view tonight?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I didn't have the pace tonight. I don't know if it was me or the Porsche. I think Terry is driving the Porsche, so I can't blame it on the car. So I was anywhere from half a second to 8/10 off from the quick guys. I couldn't keep pace with Patrick or Ryan or Terry, and I guess they had some issues, and I actually had a couple little issues out there myself. Nothing major. I'm shocked I came second. I didn't have a lot of pace, and I had a couple small mistakes, and I guess the guys in front of me had bigger mistakes, and so I guess one of the things is he who makes the least mistakes often comes out on top, right?
Definitely in endurance racing, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it was fun. It's not my favorite track, I'll be honest. The Porsche doesn't seem for me. It just isn't a track I connect with. But sometimes you just got to put your head down and try and keep it clean. And sometimes think you get lucky, or other guys get unlucky, I guess.
Well, it seemed like both of those worked for you tonight. You mentioned you had a few incidents, but you had some pretty minor incidents compared to, you didn't have a drive-through penalty. You didn't get caught up in that wreck where you T-boned somebody who was spinning in front of you. So you managed to keep it clean, and everybody aside from Ryan seemed to have that issue tonight. Now, you said the Porsche here, you and the Porsche here aren't quite the mix. How do you and the Porsche get along at Monza?
I can't remember the last time I raced this car at Monza. It's okay. Again, it's like a whole bunch of straights and about 5 or 6 turns, if I remember Monza correctly. So yeah, it's we'll just get out there and again, same thing, put our head down and try and keep it clean. And I guess the one advantage I seem to maybe have tonight, and I'm gonna have to go and check that out, I seem to burn a lot less fuel than the other cars in the same class around me. By the time I got to my second pit, I was able to take 6 or 7 liters less than the other guys, and so I don't think that is what made the difference in getting me up to second, but I certainly think it gained me a few seconds on the track, so it was very fuel efficient out there.
Yes, it definitely did that. Well, congratulations, and this gives you a little bit of a buffer there in the championships battle as well, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, it's a long season. Collect those points when you can. Season.
Yes. Well, awesome. Congratulations once again. And is there anybody you want to give a big shout out to and a big thank you for bringing you home in second place tonight?
Yeah, you know what? This goes out to my brother-in-law Jonathan, who just got diagnosed with brain cancer a week ago. So got some bad news in the family. So this goes out to him and the battle he's facing right now.
Well, everybody here at the Pony Express family will definitely be keeping him in our thoughts and prayers as he goes through that, and tell him we wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate that.
Congratulations, David Lehman.
Yeah, you betcha. Thanks guys. See you next week.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, there we have your two leaders from GTE. Let's go get Mr. Jimmy Covert this time. What do you say, Sean?
Sounds good. Dennis, you wanna run with this one?
Sure. Jimmy. Welcome to the podium.
Thank you.
So how was the race on your end? I saw you were battling with Nick and Carl for most of the race. How did it feel from your end?
I felt real good. I know some of the guys in the back of the GTE, and I know a lot of people are new, but it's just 2 weeks in a row right now, or 2 weeks in a row. Mr. Daniel Hingley and God bless his heart, losing control of his car and being stuck in the middle of the track. It kind of tends to hold you up before you lose a little bit of distance on Carl. Carl's fast enough. Those things like that don't need to hang you up. But other than that, I apologize to Nick. He just broke a little earlier going into 5, and I think my car just barely touched him, and it was like slow motion, just watching his rear end like losing control. So, I apologize to Nick. Even on the air, I tried to get him in Discord, whatever. But I don't like doing that to people. That's not me. I don't drive that way.
Well, you definitely pulled a pretty good race other than those little incidences. I'm assuming the tires didn't have any effect on you, considering it's a Red Bull Ring. It's pretty straight.
Yeah, the tires weren't too bad at all. When I came in the first time, they were still over 80%. Towards the end, of the race, they were probably down. I didn't get a chance to check them at the end, but they were probably in their 60s, and you could notice them. They wanted to push on you a little bit, but once you start racing these cars enough, to change your braking points and even adjust your brake bias, and you can control that stuff and keep pretty much the same laps.
Well, Red Bull Ring is a pretty straight track, but we're going to even straighter track in the form of Monza, the Temple of Speed. How do you think these cars are going to handle, and are you going to stay with the Ferrari this time?
I more than likely will stay with the Ferrari, and if it's anything like Le Mans, then they're going to be a lot of fun and a lot of drafting and close racing. So as long as people keep it clean, it should be a fun race, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, congratulations on the second place. I know you've been doing really well. You won Le Mans, so you had some really good results this season. Do you have anyone that you want to give a shout out to, for your really good second place and how you've been doing so far in the season?
I want to give a shout out to Pony for putting these on. It means a lot. It gives the practice and time on track, and time on track is more than a lot of people know, especially sitting in the seat. Shout out to Joker Graphics for giving the paint scheme. Carl, he's my partner in crime half the time, but he just drives away from me and leaves me in the back. But it's a lot of fun, and my wife, family, and everybody else that's watching.
Well, congratulations, Jimmy, on the second place, and we should see you in Monza. Get some rest and practice up.
All right, thank you, Denny.
All right, gentlemen, there we have it. Your top 2 in GTE and GT3 tonight. Congratulations to those guys once again. Well, last minute before we head out of here, Mr. Dennis Diaz, what are your thoughts going into Monza? How do you see that playing out? Quite a different track from what we had here tonight.
Monza is going to be quite an adventure for most of the people here. It's a pretty fast track. There's going to be a lot of drafting. People are going to have to be very careful, especially going into some of these corners. The rear end does like to step out, especially Ascari on the exit of it. There's a lot of curbing that can upset the car. So we might see a lot of issues there. But I think for the most part, traffic shouldn't be too much of an issue unless people are trying to pass in the middle of the chicane. So patience is going to be needed. But I have faith in everyone here. They're pretty clean for the most part, and I don't see anything major happening.
Great, awesome. Well, Mr. Sean Atkins, I appreciate you stopping by. But before I let you go, Sean, what stood out tonight as your, well, maybe not your first official broadcast, possibly, but what did you take away from tonight, other than the itch to get back in the car next week?
Well, that's because that's Monza, right? We're talking about a historical track that's just a ton of fun, right? If you can stay out of trouble in the chicanes, as Dennis said, you can have a great race there. It's so much fun. But I think tonight was definitely, I think the highlight was probably Patrick Ribley and Ronnie Osmer just going back and forth for that last 30 minutes or so. That was such great driving, such good back and forth. And boy, without a couple of mistakes on each of their end, I think one of them probably could have drove away, but man, it made for some great racing this evening.
Yes, it did, and that is typically what you get here all the time at Pony Express Endurance for Amateurs. We will be back again next Wednesday, live from Monza. So please come back and join us again. We appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by this evening.